Good morning, all. Hope you're all doing well out there. We are live and alive today, Wednesday, the 16th of April. Yeah, hope you're all good. We are back building a Tarkir Cube again. Nice little thumbnail for us there. Yeah, so quick overview. This is part 2. We started this yesterday. The link to the cube is down in the description below. Last week we got all of our yesterday, feels so long ago, we got all of our coloured cards in. So link to this cube will be down in the description below. We're building a Tarkir set cube, so all cards set on Tarkir are eligible to go in. So that's from the first 3 sets. So Tarkir, Fate Reforged, and Dragons of Tarkir, and then Tarkir Dragonstorm, as well as some of the Commander products, which we'll get onto later today. The decks are going to be Jeskai Prowess, Sultai Graveyard, Mardu Tokens, Abzan Counters, Temur, Ferocious, that's creatures with power 4 or greater, and we're also going to have 5-color Morphs, because that was a sick mechanic in the original Tarkir block, 5-color Dragons, and Colorless Matters, because Morphs are also colorless as well, and there was a colorless theme in the original block as well. We're going to be sprinkling other bits in as well, but that's kind of like the starting point that we're going to be working from. These are the cards we got in yesterday, all 325 of them. For lands, you can see we went double gain lands, double try lands, and one of each fetch land that was in the set. And this forest for some reason. We don't need the forest in the cube. I've done a bit of tagging on this just to help me. This will be more helpful tomorrow. I've started tagging stuff of cards that go in certain decks. So the yellow ones are Mardu, the purple ones are Abzan, red ones are Jeskai, green is Sultai, and pink is Morphs, I guess. So light blue, a teal if you will, is Temur. I find doing this quite helpful. I didn't do it on stream because it's just me going through and copying and pasting a tag. Hello, darling. Where have you been? You're late. Your audience is waiting. Meow. Meow. The wife is still away, so the cat is very cuddly, which we're fine with. We miss the wife, but we do get more cat cuddles this way, so hey ho. Hello, small cat. Good to see you. So I find doing this quite helpful. I do it in all my cubes, actually. If I go to my where is it? Treat Yourself cube. I did this when I was building it. Basically, it helps me check that I have cards for each archetype. So see, at the moment we only have Could Cut turned on, but like a bunch of them has like Temur Cascade, Sultai Graveyard, Jeskai Spells, Esper Artifacts, like Bant Flicker, like things do things in my cube. Like the ones that don't have tags are cards that I've added afterwards, basically. So just tagging stuff up. So currently the display is turned on, but if I turn these on, you'll kind of see that a bunch of things are tagged. It's quite helpful. It's not something you have to do, but I find it helpful, especially when it comes to cutting. So what we'll be doing tomorrow, once we have our list a bit more finalized, is we'll be kind of putting in overcards and then we'll be trimming it back and seeing what doubles we need to run, because we are going to break Singleton. We've already broken it for like Dragonstorm Forecaster type stuff, where you search for the Globe or Boulderborn Dragon. So can get this lad or this, and then we also doubled up Renowned Weaponsmiths, which get Heart Pisser Bow and Violet Dragonfire. Very vibey. What we're going to be doing tomorrow, or once we have all our cards in, we're going to see if archetypes need doubles of cards to make them work. So say, for example, we look at Jeskai, and it's really light on cheap creatures, or like cheap threats. Rather than struggling to find one, we can just run a second Monastery Swiftspear in the cube, for example. That's what we're going to be doing. Maybe later today if we get to it, but that's more what tomorrow's going to be. Today's is we're going to carry on adding cards to the cube. And what we did yesterday I thought worked quite well, where basically we have a blank Moxfield sheet just to drop and drag cards into, and then we add them into the cube afterwards. Just because you can't, as far as I'm aware, you can't drop and drag cards directly into Cucumber. You have to type them or import them this way. So what we're doing is dropping and dragging them into Moxfield, and then we'll just copy the list and import that into Cucumber, and then we have our list nice and straightforward. So yesterday we did everything up to green. We're now going to go through and do multicolored. So this should have everything on it. Marvelous, it does. So this search, if you're wondering, is all the sets all the base sets that we're looking for. So Tarkir, Dragonstorm, Dragons of Tarkir, Fate Reforged, and regular Tarkir. So we got up to green yesterday. Now we're going to go through multicolored. Later on, we will try and balance this to make sure that each multicolored section has the same amount of cards in it. And also, because this is a 3-color cube, like it's a tricolor cube, all the archetypes are generally over at least three colors. We're going to want to balance this at least a little bit, so that like Orzhov has the same amount as Simic, that kind of stuff. First things first, though, I'm 100% putting in a whole cycle of Dragon Lords. When I think of Tarkir, I think of Dragon Lords. So Ojutai, 100% getting in. Narset Transcendent is an interesting one. Basically because we're not going to have that many Planeswalkers in it, because there weren't as many in original Khan's block, and there's only one in the new block. This does do quite a lot of stuff with Jeskai, so I think we'll put it in for now, and then maybe it gets removed for power maybe later. What does Ojutai command? Ooh, I think we do all the commands as well. I like having a full cycle of commands, and I like having a full cycle of Dragon Lords. That seems cool, and we know that's going to be in all the colors anyway. And then, in theory, we might have a bonus dragon as well. So Cunning Priest Dancer, Ojutai Soul of Winter, and Pristine Skywise. Which of these is the best? Whenever you cast on a creature spell, it gets to 2, so it's got double prowess. Pretty good. Whenever Dragon Control attacks, except target non-land permanent opponent controls. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, untap, Pristine gains protection. So, seemingly with these, we can either go Dragon's Matters with Ojutai Soul of Winter, or we can go more synergy-based. I think we're going to go more synergy-based with, like, Pristine Skywise here, just because it'll go in more decks. Like, the Dragon deck will run it because it's a dragon, so I think that means it can get in. So 4 is where we kind of are. That seems alright. So for Dimir, obviously Dragon Lord Silumgar gets in. Silumgar's Command gets in. Then what do we want? Whenever you sacrifice a creature, target opponent sacrifices a creature. That could be quite strong. Whenever Necromancer deals dominant damage to a player, you may pay 2. If you do, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token on the battlefield. And if your opponent puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. That's interesting. I'm not blown away by the other dragons, if I'm honest with you. I think we're going to add Necromancer to Dragon, but I'm kind of... This and Pristine Skywise might be we end up cutting them. Dragon Lord Colligan, 100%. Colligan's Command, 100%. Actually, this seems pretty good in the Mardu deck. Whenever another creature enters the battle under your control, target creature gets +2/+1 until end turn. There's going to be a lot of... what do you call it? Mobilize in this cube, so that could be quite strong. I do love this Colligan as well, but this is already a dragon buff as well. What does Swift Walkite do? When it enters the battlefield, you may put a creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard onto the battlefield, and there is haste return to your hand. That's interesting. I think we go for Bolting Marauder here. Gruul, Atarka's Command, original Dragon Lord, or the Dragon Lord Atarka, I think, gets in. It's not actually the original one, it's later. And I think actually here we go Savage Ventmore. Gruul is going to be monster adjacent with Temur, so I think that means it gets in. Dragon Lord Jamoka gets in. Jamoka's Command gets in. Ooh, and both of these do stuff with counters. Probably this Jamoka, when you control attacks, it bolsters 2. So it's also a more on-rate dragon. I do like Enduring Scalar. It's a pretty solid uncommon. I think that's fine. Ooh, okay. Mardu... Also... when we're in the non-dragon colours, it gets a bit more interesting because we have Sorin, I think, is going to get in. I think we do Utter End. A bit generic, but I think it's fine. And then I think we're actually going to double up here. Whenever you attack, target creature gets +6. I think we actually go Chief of the Edge here because most of the mobilized tokens are warriors. So that's kind of that's a nice little sub synergy that we have there. Do we want the Baron Step Siege? As it enters, choose Abzan or Mardu. Abzan, the beginning of end step, put a count on each creature you control, or Mardu at the beginning of end step, if a creature died on you control this turn, sacrifice. That's pretty good actually. Annoyingly, I kind of want Baron Step Siege, and I kind of want Hardened Technician as well. Sacrifice token, draw a card. I think that means we might be cutting... We'll come back to this. Everything's fine. Don't worry. Alright. For... Is it? I think we're going to go... Frostlift Siege. Choose Jeskai or Teema. When one or more creature you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Very Jeskai. Creatures you control get +1 and trample on haste. Very Teema. Love that. I'm not as fussed by these, though. Like, that's a bit anemic. Let's see what there is on the next section. Ooh, Mind Swipe is a better card. Is Winterflame good, though? There's definitely an imbalance in terms of good cards in this. There might be some other guild cards in some of the other things we're looking at today. So we'll get to those in a little bit. I think Winterflame is fine. It wants to be spells, shockingly. Right. The Grim Contest is a fight spell, I guess. Hollowmurk Siege. I think we just want that just because of the overlap for stuff. I love Rakasha Death Dealer. Doesn't really synergize with anything that these colours are doing, but it's vibey as hell and I really like it. So it's going in. That's part of the point of this cube, is we are wanting to play with cards that are cool. That is the important part. We're trying to get people to play the best parts of Tarkir, basically, with this. This creature enters with 2... +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever this creature or another creature you control dies, if it has counters on it, put its counters on up to one attack creature you control. Oh, it lets you move them around. Okay. That's going to be quite fun. Yeah, let's go with Host of Hereafter. I know there's some in the Commander product that we'll be looking at in a minute that we'll want in here as well. Right. Ride down. Destroy target blocking creature. Creatures that were blocked by that creature become gain trample. That's pretty good. Probably Corrie Mountain Stewart. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Windcrag Siege. Do we want Frontline Rush or War Flare? Frontline Rush, I think, to begin with. Actually, we'll add War Flare in as well. We are going to... I know with this, we are going to have to make some cuts to it. Right, Glacier with Siege. Way cooler card than I initially thought. James pointed out on the podcast how much cooler this card is. And also nice having a Crucible in here. There are fetch lands in this. You could build like a 5-color deck with this. Oh, we need big mauls. Sagu Mauler, phenomenal magic card. We're going to add Secret Plans for the face down matter stuff. And yeah, we're going to love it. I would like Aura Procession just as a utility card, so we'll add that in for the time being. Alright, now we get to the multicolored stuff, and I have no idea how to balance this, because there's so many 3-color cards. So we're going to throw a bunch in and see where it lands. We're going to add in all the ones we think are cool, and then again, we will cut down later. So All-Out Assault. Creatures you can get performance 1 and have Death Touch when this enchantment enters. If it's your main phase, there's an initial combat phase after this phase. That seems very Mardu. We 100% need Butcher of the Horde. I love this card so much. Crackling Doom is great. There's this cycle. I might add all of the uncommon ones of this cycle. This seems quite flexible and goes in a bunch of decks, so I think that means it gets in. I think we run these over Mardu Charm, or over the Charms. Is my gut, anyway. Then we have the new cycle of Dragons, which I think we are... Yeah, let's put the big dragons in. We do want some big dragons. I love this Zergo. This Zergo is cool and cheap though, so let's add you in. All right. Teemo, what do we want? So I like this uncommon. I think that's pretty cool. Big Nux needs to get in. Do we want this Sarkhan? Draw a card, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Put a 4/4 dragon onto play. So should I be for any number of dragon cards, put them into the battlefield? I mean, dragon deck. I love that for us. So, do we want Surak or do we want this? Do we want the Ascendancies is the other question. Do we want the Ascendancies? We'll put the Ascendancies in for now. Oh, cat's been outside. Just realised there's a bit of mud on my shoulder. Alright, let's add the Ascendancies for now. The Ascendancies, we will make a decision if they stay in or not afterwards. We do want a big dragon for each colour, so Ireni, big lad, gets in. Marvellous. There's Dragonclaw Strike. That's the... And this is also a very good card. Damn, there's... the gold cards of this is going to be tricky. We're going to need to make some cuts to these, because there's a lot of cool stuff here. What do we have? So there's the Ascendancy... There's Beta. June Blast, nice little board wipe. I think I prefer it to Perenniation. Obviously, we need Siege Rhino. It's Tarkir. The question is, do we need 2 Siege Rhinos? Ooh. This is the cycle of that. And then none of these actually care about counters yet, which is what Abzan is doing. So I guess we want Felahar. Mini Rhino. We could go Mini Rhino, but we have the big, proper Rhino. Jeskai Ascendancy is a cool card. Because on Crystal, you can get +1 until the turn. That's great. Mantis Rider, definitely getting in. When I think of Tarkir, I think Mantis Rider. I also think Narset, Enlightened Master. Love that for us. And this big Dargon here. Marvellous. Sultai, the good stuff. The good things. Kotus seems kind of fun. Did we add the Jeskai Uncommon hybrid card? I don't think we did. Where are we? There you are. Get in the cube, please, and thank you. Alright. So Rakash's Bargain gets in. Sidisi obviously gets in. Villainous Wealth? Do we Villainous Wealth if we have Kotis? I don't think so, actually. Sultai will probably get some more from the Commander product that we'll get onto in a moment. And 5-color dragons. Well, obviously we want that. Alright. So that was a good... That is a healthy multicolored section. Let's go through colorless now. So we want some fixing in colorless. You see all of the sets have had some kind of fixing. I don't think we want monuments. I think monuments suck. Moments I kind of like though because they're 2 mana. I think we might go moments. Moments or banners. What do we think out there? I'm thinking moments just because they're cheaper. Yeah, let's go... I don't know here, actually. Let's go moments, I think. My gut is moments because they actually go and get lands. If you think this should be banners, do let us know. Ancestral Statue is funny, but I don't think it does much in this. Alright, what else do we want? Dragonfire Braid is pretty vibey. Dragon Throne of Tarkir is very vibey. Oh, Hero's Blade is from this. I love Hero's Blade. Very good magic card. We're not adding Mox Jasper because I think this is trash magic card, personally. We are going to add Ugin Eye of the Storm and Ugin the Spirit Dragon. We're going to add Witless of the Ages as a little colourless payoff. I swear, what was the other? There was another colourless payoff, Ghost Fireblade. So this is kind of the heart of the colourless deck. It's this goes on morphs, basically, which is cool and vibey, and we love that for us. I don't know why I was expecting more colourless cards over Tarkir, but that's all of them. I don't think we're going to go for this cycle. I think it's fine, but I don't think it's... I think our lands we just want to be fixing, if I'm honest with you. Maybe that's wrong. I'm open to making changes to it later. I don't think we have Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon in here, so we can add this in. Or Crucible of the Spirit Dragon, we can add you. Right, so that is all the cards from the base set. But there are more cards set on Tarkir. This little search shows us all cards that the art is from Tarkir. The reason we're doing that is because between original Tarkir block and new Tarkir, we have a bunch of Commander products. So we're going to go through and look at those. So here we have, what Commander product was this? This was Commander 2016. So you have these kind of cards. So Rayhan, really good card for the Abzan deck in here. It cares about plus one counters. Same with Isha, Ojify Dragon Speaker. 4 mana 1/1 when you cast an sorcerer, also you put a counter on it. Maybe that one doesn't get in. That is a bit anemic, shall we say? Urka Shidiki, Menace. When a creature controls somewhat damage to a player, you gain life equal to its toughness. This is a card we'll consider, but I don't think it gets in just because of not being the best Magic card. Shamanic Revelation, was that in? That was actually in Facial Forge, so we have considered that one. Vial Smasher's kind of vibey. I don't hate Vial Smasher. I like Vial Smasher. Let's put you in. Alright, let's go down. So yeah, so a bunch of cards. So Scale Lord Reckoner, were you in a treasure chest first? Whenever Dragon Control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, destroy target non-opponent. So I don't think this gets in, but it is a cool card to consider. What do you do? Are you in Keru Mind Eater, 2 and a black vampire with Menace? Whenever this creature does combat damage to a player, that player exiles a card from their hand face down. You may look at cards exiled with this creature, and you may play lands and cast spells from among those. That's kind of cool. That's kind of a unique effect that I think we want. Ooh, Curse of Bounty is on Tarkir. It's Wolves, though. I would have assumed this is Innistrad. But hey-ho. Enchant player, whenever enchanted player is attacked, untap all non-land permanents you control. That is interesting. This doesn't make me think of Tarkir. So it says the art is on Tarkir, but I don't actually believe it. Ooh, the 2 Taigams are sick. Instant sorcery and dragon spells you control can't be countered by spells or abilities, and whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell from your hand, if it attacks this turn, that spell gains rebound. That is really cool. Doubling up all your instant sorceries is very Jeskai. Also, yeah, I think that's a rad card. Really fun commander deck. Well, for you anyway. Taigam and Dovescape works phenomenally. It basically means that all your opponent's spells get countered and they make birds, but all of your spells don't get countered, or don't get countered, but you still make birds. Nice little tip for you there. Very cool. Do we want this Taigam to use his hand? So this is like the different timelines. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Exile X cards from your hand, target creature gets... it is quite good self-mill. We didn't actually have that many to mill. I don't remember actually. Let's add you in now. Was Deathbringer Regent in... It was in Dragon. So it's a card we have considered. Goreclaw is a fun one. Did not realise Goreclaw was from... I guess Quell Sisma is Tarkir. Legendary creature, bear. 4 mana. Creature spells you with power 4 greater, cost 2 less to cast. And when it attacks each creature you control with power 4 greater, gets +1 until end of turn. Oh, is this the bear punching back? Is it this bear? Or a friend of this bear? Love that. I think Goreclaw gets in, because Goreclaw is just great in big creature decks. I run Goreclaw in my Dragon Commander deck because it makes my dragons cost cheaper. That's pretty solid. Alright. Ooh, Nexus of Fate is another one we could technically run. This is a very strong card. Let's add Nexus of Fate. It's a vibe. This one could come out. I don't think we want you... You're not a great dragon. All right, now we're on to the cards from Modern Horizons. So is anything broken from Modern Horizons 1 in here? No. Okay, love that. What does Soren's Guide do? When Soren's Guide enters the battlefield, you may search your library and or graveyard for a card named Soren Vampire Lord. Okay, that's that kind of thing. That's fine. All right, back to the commander products. What do we have? Kadana's Silencer. When it's turn phase up, counter all abilities your opponents control. Abilities? I think we're going to add it more because it's a morph. Thieving Amalgam is just a cool card. Remember, beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you manifest the top card of that player's library. Whenever a creature you control but don't own dies, its owner loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. 7 mana though. We'll add you in for now. Elsha the Infinite is a cool one. 5 mana, 3/3 prowess. You look at the top card of your library in time. You may cast the top card of your library if it's a non-creature, non-land card. You cast and it gives sorcery's flash. That's pretty cool. Kadena also a cool one. It's a morph commander. 4 mana, 3/3. Lets you morph for free each turn. That's pretty good. That could make the deck. Scroll of Fate I think is a cool one. Manifest a card from your hand, so you put it down, face down. As effectively, it lets you play your morphs for free. The Grand Tour is set on Tarkir. This is weird. Okay, why not? 1 second. Bless me. Thank you. Rookie Mistake. I don't think we want this. I don't think this is good enough. See the Truth. Look up 3 cards of your library. Put one of those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. The spell was cast from anywhere other than your hand. Put each of those cards into your hand instead. I don't think we... this isn't as... I don't think we have the things to make that work. Rakasha Debaser. It's got Encore, so that probably means it doesn't get in. Remember, attacks target creature from player graveyard onto battle under your control. That's interesting. 6 mana, 6/6. Is this good 1-on-1? Maybe in this power level. We'll add you in for now. 5 mana, 5/4 haste. All creatures can attack your opponents and planeswalkers your opponents control as though they has haste. So it just gives all of your stuff haste, is how that works. 5 mana, 5/4 haste that gives all of your creatures haste is pretty good, actually. Hamza. Oh, yes, let's go. Hamza is a great card for the counters deck. The spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each creature you control with a +1 counter on it. Creatures you control that cost 1 generic less for each creature you control with a counter on it. That seems great in a Abzani counters deck. Love that. Interesting. Interesting. We could add Murktide Regent to the queue. Is that too good? I mean, we'll add you in. Murktide seems kind of fucked in this cube, actually, but hey-ho, we'll add you in for now. Right, what else do we have? Ooh, Guardian Scale Orders is actually a really cool card. I'm actually quite high on this in cube. Whenever this creature... 5 mana, 3/4, creature dragon, backup 1. Whenever this creature attacks, return target non-land permanent card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield where X is this creature's power. There's a sprinkling of a sacrifice theme in Mardu, which I quite like. That's pretty good there. As is Death Greeter's Champion, can give a creature double strike. Pretty good. Alright, we're moving down into... ooh, what says this again? Don't tell me I know it. March the Machine, marvellous. So what do you do? Tarkir Dunescaper, 1 white for a 1/2 and can transform into a 4/3 with trample. That's a bit anemic. Don't care about that. I mean, we should probably run Invasion of Tarkir. When this siege enters, reveal any number of dragon cards from your hand. When you do, that siege deals X plus 2 damage to any other target, where X is the number of cards revealed this way. Has defense 5, and then it flips into a dragon. I mean, it's a bad shock, basically, but if you have a dragon, it becomes a better shock. And then it can flip into a dragon. That seems kind of what we're after from this. Ooh, yes, we have this cycle of... we have like the partner type thing. So we have Zergo and Ojutai. Do we want that? 5 mana, flying haste. When Zergo and Ojutai have hexproof as long as it entered the battlefield this turn, and whenever one or more dragons control deal combat damage to a player or battle, look at the top. I'm going to stop reading. That feels very commander. Ooh, I do like the mountain cycling. That's quite vibe. What does Surek and Goreclaw do? 6 mana, 6/5 trample. Other creatures you control have trample. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a counter on it. It gains haste on the turn. Ooh. That gets in. That's kind of vibey. That doesn't seem too broken, but it seems quite good. We have this Narset. Creatures you control have prowess. I mean, that seems kind of messed up. When Narset enlightened exile attacks, exile target non-creature, non-land card with mana value less than Narset's power from a graveyard and copy it. That's kind of messed up. Sarkhan, dragons cost 1 less to cast. That's kind of on brand. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Sarkhan become a copy of it until the turn, except its name is Sarkhan and it's legendary and integer to the types. Sarkhan's pretty good. We love Sarkhan for us. What do you do? Omarthis, Ghostfire, Initiate, enters the battlefield with X+1 counters on it. Whenever you put one or more counters on another colorless creature you control, you may put a... this does not seem... This is a cool card. I've never actually seen this before. It must be from... Yeah, it's from Commander Legends. Cool. So I'm assuming... So because of this artwork, we're going to have to go through... Oh no. Marvellous. There we are. So we had to quickly go through Khan's Remastered. What is that? I'm sorry. That is... No. That is hideous. What have you done to my boy? Right. So we have... Commander... Oh, Modern Horizons 3 to get through. Let's see what they are. Ghostfire Slice is a cool Magic card. And another +1 counter payoff with Outlast, but it gives all things with counters on them lifelink. That's pretty good. We like that. We're not adding energy. We're not doing that. Ugin's Binding? Why is this artwork so weird? Where's the... Okay, regular artwork. Return target non-permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. Whenever you cast a color spell with mana value 7 or greater, that we're not going to be doing that. This Alesha. Whenever Alesha attacks, put a counter on it. Raid whenever you end step. Yep, that seems pretty good. Dan Dramoka Warlord. When it enters, put a +1 counter on target creature. Whenever you attack attacking creature with +1 counter on it, gains first strike until end of turn. If this creature had 2 or more counters on it, it gains double strike until end of turn. That's kind of vibey. I don't hate that. We'll get you in for now. And Goblin Surprise as well, is this? Then Foundations. I'm assuming it's Tarkir because the goblins have beards. Love that for them. And then we get onto the current set. Marvellous. So that's 100 cards to go on top of the 324 cards that we have already. But there's one more thing we need to search for, and that is the Commander decks. And that is not the Commander decks. So we're going to search for through the most recent Commander decks, and then that is every card that has appeared on Tarkir. So we want Tarkir Commander, and here we want criteria is not a reprint. So we only want new cards. So let's go through here and see what we have. So Inox Strike Leader, immediately I know I want this, despite the fact that the artwork is haunting. What is that? What is that? Boo on every level to this. The card's cool though. Basically, you can ignore the commander part. Whenever you attack with this creature, for each opponent, create a 1/1 red goblin creature that's tapped and attacking. So it has mobilize 1. Oh no, it's a Rebel Master, and you can sack it. Sack this creature. Creature tokens you control gain interact on turn. Very, very good card. All right, let's have a look at some of these other ones. I've definitely read these, but it was a hot minute ago. This card's just going to be too expensive, I guess. 8 mana, but it has Delve. For each player, choose up to 1 target creature card in the black player's graveyard. Put this card on the battlefield under your control. They're zombies. That I don't think is going to work one-on-one as well as we want. Adaptive Training Post, 2 in a blue. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if this artifact has fewer than 3 charge counters on it, put charge on it. Remove 3 charge counters from this artifact. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. Copy it. No. I don't want do nothing enchantments. So let's read Aligned Heart. Whenever you cast a second spell each turn, put a rally counter on it. Then create a 1/1. Jesus. Sorry, Aligned Heart. 2 and a white enchantment with Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a rally counter on this enchantment. Then create a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess on it for each rally counter on it. That's actually quite good. I know. Ignore what I just said about do nothing enchantments. That seems pretty solid in this kind of power level. Think of this in like Tarkir currently. That seems pretty good, just because the prowess tokens are very strong. We'll add you in for now, but you might come out later. What is up with the artwork in this commander set? What are you doing, lad? Do we want to run it? 4 mana dork. Add X, where X is the greatest toughness among creatures you control. There could be a Wallsy deck in this, so maybe we'll look at that and get to you. But become the Avalanche. Draw a card for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. Then creature you control get +X until the turn weights the number of cards in your hand. We don't actually have an overrun in this yet, so I think that means they can get in. We have the other beta. We're going to go and put a number of counters on up to 1 other target creature you control, equal to the amount of life you've gained this turn. Return up to 1 target creature card with mana value equal to the amount of life you've lost this turn. This is going to be tricky. We don't really have ways of paying life, apart from fetch lands, as far as I'm aware, so I don't think this beta gets in. Bone Devour, what do you do? 4 mana, 2/2 flash, flying. The creature enters the number of counters on it, equal to the number of creatures that died this turn. When those creatures die, you draw X cards and lose X life rates to the number of +1 counters on it. Seems okay. It's 4 mana. The curve will get you in. There's a bunch of these dragons. I'm not super fussed by these, because these are all... I like... The dragons in this cube, we can probably have a couple that care about other dragons, but the majority just need to be good dragons by themselves. Colossal Grave Reaver I do really like, but I think just getting into play is going to be the tricky part. We have a couple of reanimation spells, so I'm not entirely sure. My gut is no with these ones. With the commander ones, we do want them to be a bit of a light touch. 3 mana, Elsha, 3/4 Masters, Jeskai, Trample Prowess, when it enters... Well, when it does come damage, and make that many monks with prowess. I'm not so sure about some of these. Just from a power level point of view, I know we've had a couple already that might need to come out, but just like, I don't want to. We want this to be good and fun. We don't want to muck up it too much. Equipped creature has menace and mobilize X of power. Maybe we can push this a little bit. If every deck is doing it, it's not the end of the world. I want Tevil to go in, but I think that's a bit tricky. Because Tevil's just a 4 mana 4/4 flyer that is just busted. I think we can add Tempest Technique. This one's kind of funny. Enchant creature you control. Enchant creature gets +1 from each enchantment you control and there's Storm. That seems quite funny. We can add you in. Voracious Bibliophile, I think is quite good. In this kind of power level cube, I think it works. 4 mana Flying Vigilance. 3/3. Whenever you cast a spell that targets one or more, whenever you cast a spell with one or more targets, draw that many cards. That seems pretty good in this, because that's kind of what Jeskai's doing. So it's just rewarding you with card draw. That's pretty good. I think there's this Zergo is also pretty good. You can get in. I think power level wise, it's kind of okay. I'm not a big fan of the wills, if I'm honest with you. Right, we might be. Actually, maybe this is quite good in this. I'm not actually that fussed by this one for Commander. I like the other dragon way too much. But 3 mana, 3/3. Once during each turn, you may cast a creature spell from your graveyard by exiling 3 other cards from your graveyard in addition to paying other costs. Whenever one more creature you control enter, if it was entered from your graveyard or if it was cast from your graveyard, put 2 counters on Kotus. So that seems pretty good. That is a nice little value engine. I think the thing with this is like it's a 3 mana 3/3 is still actually relatively on rate, but like Tevil is a 4 mana like 1/1. I love Tevil. No excuse to talk about it. But it's a 4 mana 4/4 that ramps you a card and makes you a 2/2 when it attacks. That's probably a bit too good 1/1. Is my gut, especially in this cube where we're wanting to get to 3 colors. I think. that means we're good. There is sort of a walls deck that we haven't fully explored yet. Whenever the creature enters the battlefield, create a 1/3 white wall creature token with defender. Whenever creature you control and dies. Let's have a look at defenders on Tarkir. So there is the Abzan legend from the Commander set. So this does exist. So we want defender. Let's do the sets. Tarkir, Dragonstorm, Tarkir, Dragons of Tarkir, Tarkir, Khans of Tarkir, Tarkir, Commander, and the other one is Fate Reforged. So let's just see what defender matters. So it's 37 cards. That's almost an A archetype. Oh, but you don't count. Blight Pile, you don't count. You're from Dominaria. You do not count. Same with Axebane Garden. Yeah, like so. I guess we want criteria is not reprint. So how much stuff is there? 17 cards. That's almost an archetype. So you have Assault Formation and Felethar as your payoffs. That lets you attack with them. I don't think that's good enough, though, is the thing. We would have to double up. We'd really have to double up, I think. So you would need probably 2 of these and 1 of these. Because there isn't really any other payoffs for just for walls matters. Like, do we want to run a 5-mana 0/7 with Defender that can tap a creature? Do we really want to have to run that to make this archetype work? I guess this one, 3-mana 3/3. This creature can attack. That's still not good. My gut is walls and booties doesn't get there right now. Like Felethar is a very strong commander. If you're doing the walls thing, little boring. Rip my boy Doran. But if you don't have Felethar or Assault Formation in play, you're kind of ruined. So I don't think we're going to add this to the cube. So I think that means we're pretty much there. We'll top up the commander section, or we'll top up cards from the commander section maybe later. But I think that means we're going to add these 114 cards to our cube and see where we are. So we want more. We want to export. Copy from Moxfield, I guess. Import. Paste text. Add cards. Cross fingers. Alright, so these are the ones that didn't get in. So let's Elsha the Infinite. I don't know why you didn't get in. Probably just the printing, if I'm honest with you. Invasion of Tarkir, probably because it's a split card. Kadena, Silking Sorcerer, you can get in. Nexus of Fate. Sure, go with that artwork. So we're actually up to 438 cards. That's kind of around the number I kind of wanted. So like, I don't think this needs to be a 540 cube. Just because there's only like 900 or so. There's probably like 1,000 cards set on Tarkir in all of Magic. So we don't need to just halve that. Like, marvelous. So that's our cube, everyone. We're calling it a day. No, that's not how this is going to work. Cool. So this is going to be our base. With this, so for an 8-player cube, we know we need at least 360 cards. I do want a bit of variety, so it being around this number, I think is pretty good. So in my head, I was thinking somewhere between 420 and 450. So we're kind of right in that ballpark. We are going to be doubling up some cards, as we mentioned, or as I mentioned earlier in this video. Let's have a rough look at our multicolored cards. So it's actually pretty even. So if we look at it, we have 5 Azorius cards, 4 Dimir, 5 Rakdos, 3 Gruul, 4 Selesnya, 6 Orzhov, 4 Izzet, 4 Golgari, 5 Boros, 5 Simic, 9 Mardu, 9 Temur, 7 Abzan, 8 Jeskai, 6 Sultai, and 5 Multicolor. That's not terrible. In that it's relatively they're relatively close to each other. So we could probably... We don't have to be super strict, but I think we could go to like either 5 in each or 4 in each. I think 4 in each probably makes more sense. So add an extra Gruul card, cut one of these. I think that's pretty good. Unless they're adding to a specific deck. So with like Orzhov, because we have like the little Warriors Saki sub package. I quite like that. Yeah, and cutting these and going down to 8 on these, I don't hate. We do have the monuments as well in here, so that's kind of adding 1. So going to 8, including monuments, I think is pretty solid. Okay, we're actually, like, in terms of balancing, we're pretty close. So obviously, the other thing we also need to do is make sure these are comparable. So we only have 57 white cards, but we have 62 blue, 68 black, 58 red, and 54 green. We want these numbers to be even. We want these numbers to be... We'll call you a red card. I saw that. We'll call you a red card. Everything's fine. We want these numbers at the top to be similar. It is a cube. Things do need to be balanced. You can't just... This isn't a chaos draft. We can't just throw in a random amount of shit. We do need things to be balanced. The other thing as well we need to look at, and this is what we're going to be doing a bit more tomorrow on our analysis, is our curve. So you can see here that white, red, and green have an average CMC of 3, whereas blue, black, and red have an average. Blue and black have an average CMC of 4. That means that there's just more higher, beefy things in black and red. So that means if we were going to cut some black cards, we're going to cut them up here in the 4 and 5s, because realistically, we want the curve. We want everything to be an average of 3, base or an average of 3. So a powered cubes, the average is 2. My slower cube, the average is 4. For this kind of stuff, we want the average CMC to be 3. So we are going to cut some blue, some blue and black beef cards. Although actually, this will interestingly. So one thing to point out is blue and black is also the colors with delve. So we can keep that in mind. It might not be the end of the world. We might not need to cut too much. The other thing we need to do, and this is all going to happen tomorrow and probably Tuesday next week, maybe Friday. So Friday and Monday are public holidays in the UK. People watching live, hooray! We get a day off, or we get 2 days off. We love that. I haven't decided if I'm going to be streaming on those days yet. If we are, we're going to be finishing this off. But in terms of also next steps, we also need to make sure there's enough for decks to work. So, like, immediately, just on this, from looking at the Sultai cards, which are green, I don't think that there's enough self-mill. So we're going to be making sure to add enough bits to make sure all the decks function. Like Abzan, nice and straightforward. There's a bunch of stuff that add counters, so we can do that by, in the filter. We also this is how I've been tagging it. We can also just look for stuff with counters. So look, there's actually let's do counter not +1+1 because prowess will also come under that. But you can see there's all these cards that do stuff with +1 counters. There's all these cards that do stuff with counters. There's all these stuff that do with counters. So there's plenty of options for Abzan in here. But if we go to mill, that's not good. How are we meant to have a Sultai value deck or a Sultai graveyard deck when there's no graveyard stuff? That is actually so much worse than I initially thought. Let's actually have a... Let's have a quick look at that now, because that's actually dreadful. How me, of all people, as well. There will be other ways of doing this, but other ways of filling up your graveyard, but that seems incorrect. So Tarkir, Fate Reforged, Tarkir Dragonstorm. Okay, much better. So I'm going to add this now because I won't be able to sleep tonight if my self-mill section in my Tarkir Cube does not have enough bits. So, Enoch Wayfinder. So this is... I'm showing you now the reason we use that... this doesn't work, does it? No, it does not. Yeah, the reason we used Moxfield, because we now have to manually type them, and that's a bit more of a faff. Alter Brood only mills your opponent's stuff. We're going to add Awaken the Honored Dead. We need some self-mill in here. Calling Sensations, bringing you up, keep you move. Oh, but you're not a Khan's card. You're a Shadows over Innistrad card. Don't you? I see you. I know what you're doing. Same with Grapple of the Past. Don't you do this to me. First printing. Always first printing. Boo. Alright, that's less. But it's better. But basically, what we'll probably be doing is doubling up on Enoch Wayfarers. These are cards that will double up to make sure that it works. Rain, Veil, Rejuvenator. Get in. Grave Strength. Nice little combat trick. Oh, no, it's a sorcery, so ignore that part. But choose a creature, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard, then put a count on that creature for each creature card in your graveyard. That seems fine. Listed Prowler, when it enters, you may mill cards equals number of lands you control. Good. Prowler. Sig Host. This doesn't seem like a. So one thing with Delve in the Edifice, it does fill up. You do fill up your graveyard just from playing Magic. That is also worth pointing out. Like, it doesn't have to be as much of a dedicated self-mill deck. You will just fill up your graveyard by playing Magic. Sudden Reclamation. But I think we do kind of want to push it at least a little bit, if that makes sense. We want it to actually be a functional deck. We don't just want to do it fairly. Veteran Ice Climber, when this attacks up to top one target player mills cards equal to that creature's power. Yeah, that's Veteran Ice Climber. Marvelous. We don't control our commander, so not going to have both. Watch of the Wayside is fine. I think this deck just needs all the help it can get. And I'm not, as a Sultai Mage, I'm not going to have my Sultai deck be under costed. Fascination, also actually pretty solid. Fascination, get in. So that's better. We've now added another 10 cards to help specifically the self-mill deck. And we'll be doing this tomorrow again. So we are coming to the end of today's episode. So this is a pretty good base. So as I mentioned, tomorrow we'll be balancing this out, making sure decks have everything. I'll be tagging this up later today so we can kind of see stuff in a bit more detail. Because one thing you can also do with Cube Code that's very powerful if you're just building your own cubes, and it's one of the main reasons I do these tags, is because you can filter by tags. So I can see here that I have 12 cards specifically currently tagged for my Morph deck. Yeah? You can also do Sultai. And you can see that currently I have 16 cards tagged for my Sultai deck. So if tomorrow, when we're doing this, we think, how is Sultai looking? Does it have enough bits? We can look at this and go, no, it does not. Same with Mardu. Teema. Yeah, I do this with all of my cubes, and I find it very helpful. The other thing I also do, actually, I'll show you on my. Let's actually go to my full cube. I think I've done it on this. Is I also tag cards I'm going to cut. I would assume I do. Let's see if I've done that in here. I don't think I have, but like. So when I'm making cuts to a cube, I tag that it could be a cut. Which makes it yellow. that is also quite because you can filter by that as well. So if you're making cuts to your cube, that's also quite a good thing to use it for. But yeah, that's where we're going to end it for today. We're in a very good place. 450 or so cards. This is probably going to be the number we're going to end up with, but we are going to run doubles of some cards. So we're probably going to like double up things like Monastery Swiss Beer. Double up things like, I mean, obviously we need at least 2 Siege Rhinos. Obviously, is it Khans? Have you really experienced Tarkir until your opponents played 2 Siege Rhinos against you? I think not. That person's going to have a lovely time, and I hope you've all had a lovely time too. Yeah, that's where we're going to do it for today. Yeah, we're back tomorrow. Hopefully, finishing this off. If we need an extra day, we might tag into Thursday. Oh, sorry, tag into Friday. But we'll see how this goes. But thank you all very much for watching. Thank you all for being here. You all take care. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Cheerio. Goodbye.